So a lot of good feedback. I got a lot of good feedback from people. So I'm excited that we can go on. We can go for hours.
Yeah, we could.
Uh,
We really could.
yeah, I know,
And we will. We will.
and we will.
Tune
That's
in.
right. That's right. Welcome back. Today is a very special day because, as I told you last week, I'm beginning a new series on life coaching, and but it's special for two reasons, right? The first one is because, as I told you, this is a new series, and we're going to be talking about life coaching and personal development and time management and developing new powerful habits for your life and goals and well, many more topics, but more of that in a few minutes. But the most important reason why I am excited about this new project is because I have someone really special with me today. But not only today, she's going to be a regular co-host with me on this video series. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. So she will tell us more about her and her background, where she is in life right now, and future projects and whatnot. So without further ado, I present to you. I guess you can see it already in your screen. Michaela Longzan. Michaela, yay!
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, I'm so excited about this. I thank you for being part of this new project. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's sunny here in Manchester, which is where I'm from. So it's a beautiful day.
Hmm.
And yeah, feeling fresh.
Feeling
Feeling fresh.
fresh.
It's that beautiful time, isn't it?
Yeah.
In between summer and autumn, where it's still sunny, still bright,
Yes.
but it's a little bit chilly. Not chilly, but like
It's
fresh.
just perfect, right? What
Exactly.
are you a summer type or a winter type? What type of person are
Oh,
you?
summer.
Summer type.
Summer.
Summer type.
Winter's too cold.
Yeah.
It's too cold for me, and I get
Yeah.
rain out, so
Okay, I
everything
see.
just freezes.
All right. Yeah, I know. I'm a fall type. I like autumn. I like
Autumn's beautiful.
the colors, the air smells different, and
Yeah.
the light is different and whatnot. So yeah,
It's just the
I'm ex
rain. Just the
it,
rain in the UK. Just the rain.
did you got rain?
I mean,
Did
not today, but we
not
have
today?
pretty much every day the past few days. So yeah,
Yeah, we get.
today's a good day.
We got rain last night after many weeks without rain,
Oh
and
well.
very hot summer. We got a very good amount of rain, and over the next few days is gonna be raining. So
Sometimes you
we
need that though, don't you? To
yes,
refresh. You
yeah,
need the rain. So yeah,
really,
it's not always a negative thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, man, Michaela, please, I could say a lot of things about you, but I will let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, so my audience, uh, they get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. So I am an actress first and foremost. That is my main profession. I tend to do a lot of horror films, comedy as well. I've done a few bits and bobs on TV and whatnot. But in the recent years, I have moved towards coaching.
Okay.
So I guess you could say that I was always interested in people. Being an actress, you're always interested in people and how they
Yes.
work and their behaviors, the way that they think.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that is something, the psychology of a human to every actor
Mm-hmm.
is like fundamental for us to get under their skin,
Mm-hmm.
the character's skin. So I've always been interested in that. But I would say pre lockdown, so I'm an acting coach as well. I do acting lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absorbing so much material, so many books by some incredible authors, like Tony Robbins, Craig Beck, all these speakers that you really admire. And it was starting to intertwine in my teaching because I
Mm-hmm.
noticed something with
Mm-hmm.
actors. I noticed that it didn't matter if their technique was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually matter if in the room with me or in front of their peers, their technique was, on top. If
Flawless.
they, yeah, flawless, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If they did not get a grasp of their mindset,
Mm-hmm.
they were going to sabotage. They were going to self-sabotage in that room if their mindset is programmed that way.
Okay.
You know, if they've got some beliefs that need changing to do
Mm-hmm.
with, you know, I'm deep down, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I've got imposter syndrome. All those things
Oh,
attribute to you thinking, you know, I'm not going to do well in this because I don't deserve it. So if on a subconscious level they're believing that, they are going to self-sabotage in that room, the nerves are going to take over, and as we know about the brain, it's going to get hijacked, you know.
right.
So that inspired me as I started intertwining some of this stuff into my lessons. I started to get a lot of my clients asking to just talk about mindset. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't qualified. I wasn't trained, and you know, I'm not saying that to be an amazing coach, you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am saying is that I started to notice that people in this area were looking for something that could help them with that.
Okay.
And I decided to do a coaching course from that. I mean, why I got into the whole mindset stuff is completely different. It isn't really related to acting. It's because I went through a bit of a hard time myself, where I was
Okay.
suffering with PTSD, anxiety, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I utilized to overcome it, because
Mm-hmm.
the waiting list for therapy in the UK is just astronomical. And
Is
I was
that the
like, I'm not.
same in Germany? Is awful. I mean, you can, and the waiting list is like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Is that
Absolutely.
the
I mean,
same?
I got the letter
Mm-hmm.
about 10 months scheduling my first appointment. Bearing
Oh
in
my,
mind, it took me about 5 months to even go to the doctor and accept I had an issue,
oh
because
my
acceptance is
goodness.
the hardest thing, isn't it?
Wow.
Because mine was based on something that happened to me. It wasn't something that, you know, like I didn't wake up every morning
Yes.
with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something innate in me that had been innate in me for years. It was circumstantial. So
Mm-hmm.
for me to accept the events and what had happened,
Mm-hmm.
that was a pivotal moment in itself, and that took 5 months. And then being put on the waiting list, you know, that literally took forever. So by the time I got my first counseling session, I
Mm-hmm.
was already kind of feeling like I'd overcome a lot of it myself,
Mm-hmm.
because I refused to sit in that
You
pain.
you were already on your way out, on your way to the healing
Yeah, I mean,
goal.
I had
Yeah.
to. And this is the thing, isn't it, about change? You have to
Mm,
have enough leverage to change.
mm,
And I was at that point where I was like, if I do not implement a strategy now, if I do not start making moves now, I'm going to sit in this place
mm-hmm,
of regression, of in
mm-hmm,
the past, in
mm,
self torment, and I'm not
mm,
going to move, and I'm not going to be the person that I want to be. And I had to remind
mm,
myself of who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go, and why it was
mm,
important to make those moves. So that's why I started to immerse myself in all this learning,
mm,
which ultimately shaped me and changed and transformed me. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of energy. I was listening to audio books 2 hours a day,
mm, mm-hmm. That was my
and
next question. I mean, what kind of things? I mean, in the future we're gonna go deep into this type of subjects, but if you can tell us, what did you do during this waiting time? I mean, the audiobooks. What else did you do?
so it's not just about the learning; it's about implementing the learning, right?
Right, right.
So it's really trying to become aware of the way that
Mm,
you're thinking,
mm,
and the way that that links to your behavior. So a
mm,
lot of the books that I was reading, so I was listening to an audio book. There was a 45-minute walk to work, because I was working as a receptionist in school at the time,
mm-hmm,
and I could catch public transport, but I loved walking. I love walking.
mm,
I find that it grounds me. I love it. I'm a weirdo. I'll walk in the rain and everything. And it was 45 minutes there and 45 minutes back. And I said to myself, right, I'm listening to an audiobook, 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. So that was an hour and a half.
mm,
And then I only needed to catch up on like another half an hour. And I'd do that normally before bed to kind of help me
mm,
switch off.
mm-hmm,
So I started doing that basically every day, 5 days a week. And that helped. And then it was about cementing the learning. So
mm-hmm,
really going in deep and accepting some quite tragic things, in
mm-hmm.
terms of the way I thought about myself, in terms
Okay,
of my past.
okay.
So implementing the learning, and that's the
Mm,
hardest part. Like we all read the books. Well,
yeah.
many of us do, and I suppose many of you who are tuning in today, if you've tuned into this channel, I suppose you're similar minded, and you read and you're interested in this stuff, but it's the implementation that's the hard part, and
Right.
catching yourself when you're doing behaviors that are not beneficial for you.
Right.
That's the hard part. So practicing being present,
yeah.
Mindfulness, all that stuff starts to become really, really useful.
Right.
Meditation, yoga,
Right.
all this to kind of stop the mind. Because I was in stress.
So
my cortisol was high.
you were very proactive. I mean, you were not just waiting for someone to help you, but you did something about it, and here you are. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is a mindset that I have been lucky enough to have all my life. Like, I didn't grow up, my mum was a single parent. It was just me, my mum, my sister. And my mum struggled and life was hard. We were never told that life was easy. We were always told that life was bloody hard, and when you get out there you're going to realize, and I'm realizing now. Like we lived off hand-me-downs, and it was tough. So I suppose I always knew innately, if I was going to make a change, if I didn't want this life, I had to be the one to enforce it. And even as a kid, I worked hard. I had this like kind of attitude that I needed to work hard to get what I wanted, which was not this that I saw in front of me. And my mum always said something. She said, Michaela, you've got to have some get up and go in you. You've got to just do it. And she said that to me. And it's ironic, actually, because at the time I remember thinking, you don't have that attitude, because she lived in fear, bless her little heart out. But I suppose some of those things that my mum said to me back then instilled a belief that if something was going to happen, I needed to be the one to do it. And so that was something that was already ingrained in me. Like, I didn't really need to work as such into getting motivated. I was already quite like motivated. But obviously when you are feeling down, the problem is your motivation goes down with it. So you have to remind yourself of that.
But that's just so key. It's so important, because I mean, I've learned. Tell me what you think about this. I've learned that no one can motivate us except ourselves. I mean, we can get help, we can get tools, we can learn material and things like that. But if it doesn't come from within, that willingness, and of course it's tough, but I do agree with that. I mean, I could have here the best coaches in the world around me, but if I don't want to, if there is not that portion of willingness, like I need to do something about it. I need to go get it. Then it won't function. What do you think about that?
I agree with you in terms of we have to find the reason innate in us of why things have to change.
Okay.
Why can you not go on living like that? But, however, I do believe others can impact you. So we humans will do, most of us will do so much more for the ones we love than what we do for ourselves.
Yeah.
If I don't have children myself, but I watch my sister, and her children come first. Like, she would lay on the floor and let people tread all over if it meant that they were happy, right? And she wouldn't do it for any other reason, and she certainly wouldn't do it for herself.
That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
Exactly. So sometimes, and I use this actually with my auditions. I think about the lives of people who I'm gonna change, who I'm gonna help, which is always my family. I always think about, if I get this role, if I get this part, I'll be able to help the people who raised me, who supported me, my sister, who came from nothing, and I'll be able to give them the life that they deserve. And that takes the emphasis away from me and it puts it on them, and then something remarkable happens. You find it within you. So it's like what you said, you do find it within you to do what is necessary to help those you love. So it's an interesting thing. Yes, you have to find that within you, and it can come from like your need, your want, your realization that not doing it is going to be worse than doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the biggest realization. Not changing is going to be
Mm-hmm.
worse than changing and failing, because that's what most people are scared of, changing and failing.
Yes.
Yeah. Or it's about the people around you, and you know, if I don't do this, my kid is going to live off hand-me-downs for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, I'm not going to have food to feed my kids. Or if I keep living this way, I'm not going to, like, say if I'm bigger than what I want to be, and it's creating health concerns, I might not be around to
Right.
watch my child
Right.
get married. You know, like, so then it starts to change. Then you're like, okay, right, if I don't take a hold of my health, I'm not going to see my kid's wedding. That changes things in your brain,
Right.
because ultimately now we have to make the changes.
Right. You know, that's beautiful what you're saying, because it is true. You know, I mean, there are internal motivations and triggers, and external. You know, like your kids
Mm,
and the love for your loved ones. You know, and then of course, like you say, you know, like, well, am I harming myself? Do I want to better my life? You know, for whatever reason. So it's a perfect symbiosis. Is that a word? Symbiosis, a perfect combination of things. You know, like,
yeah.
yeah, you know, we need to. I mean, I have kids, so I know I can relate to what you're saying. I need to think about them uh, uh, before I think about me. And at the same time, I need to think about me, because if I'm not well, I cannot serve them.
Of
Uh,
course.
that's so
And then
interesting.
that brings you on to another thing, isn't it? Because when we put others before ourselves and our own innate needs, then there's a belief system there that needs to change, that others are more important, or that we
Mm,
don't believe in order for others to be happy, we have to suffer. You know, there's something
mm,
there that's not aligned,
mm,
which means you know, you have to do kind of the inner work on what your core belief systems are,
right,
and how you can kind of navigate that and change that. Because
right,
ultimately, if you don't show up for you, how can you show up for anyone else?
right,
Because if you show up all the time for others, that leads to resentment because you're not showing up for you.
right.
Which obviously leads to a lot of other things that we need to be careful
Wow. You know, when I was I announced this new series on my on my channel last week or a few days ago, and I got really good feedback. You know, it seems that there are a lot of people out there that need a help, that
of.
need
Yeah.
a helping hand. You know, and like you said, you know, maybe some of them are on the waiting list. Uh, you know, to talk to a professional of X, Y kind.
Mm.
And as I announced this project, you know, we are professional life coaches, and of course we need to work within that frame, and we do it gladly. But
Yeah.
I noticed on that feedback, you know, I mean, a lot of excitement, a lot of people were telling me, you know what, I'm looking forward to this. So I'm excited that, I mean, we can go on, we can go for hours, you know.
Yeah, we could.
Uh,
We really could.
yeah, I know.
And we will. We will.
And we will.
Tune
That's
in.
right. That's right. So
Yeah.
stay, subscribe or whatever, you know, so we can, so you
Yeah,
can,
we're coaches. We're not like pro
yeah,
pro online. We're like, subscribe, press a button,
yeah. So do what
whatever
you have to
that is.
do. If you like what we do, you know,
Yeah,
come
just
back
do what
next
you
week.
do. Yeah, and that's the amazing thing, and I'm so glad that people are going to find it useful, because of course, potential hard times are upon us, you know, for everybody. But I think fundamentally we all need a helping hand.
Right.
All of us, no matter where we are in life, it's nice to have some kind of support there, and someone who can relate or help you in any way. And
That's right.
if we help a handful of people,
Right.
we've done our jobs.
So you know, I'm just so glad. I mean, ever since I mean, how long do we know each other? I mean, virtually know each other. We haven't really be, you know, face
Few
to
years.
face.
Is it like 2 years? Yeah, we've never met.
I know. I mean, just virtually, right? I mean, I mean, we just from the get go. I mean, we connected, and here we are. You know, in this new project, and I'm very excited
Yeah, me too.
that I mean, because you're going to bring into this an expertise that would complement what I do, and hopefully through that we can help some people out there. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I'm going to include your social how do you call that? Your network,
Social. Yep.
your Instagram and Facebook,
Absolutely.
whatever. Everything will be included in the video description,
Most
so
of it you can find on Michaela Longdon anyway.
you
So
can
my
find her.
Instagram is
Right,
there, my Twitter is there, and my
right.
YouTube channel, which is in development. So I'll be doing a similar thing to Armando and
Hmm.
creating a performance empowerment coaching YouTube
Right.
channel. Where Armando will be my guest, and we get to grill him
Oh
and
my
all
goodness.
of his knowledge,
Oh my goodness.
which I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait to
Oh
see.
man, I'm so excited because yeah, you have great projects on the pipeline. Is that the way you say it, Ryan?
Yeah,
In the pipeline, on the pipeline, in the pipeline, pipeline.
yeah, yeah.
And we talked offline. We talked about those, so I'm very excited about that. And yeah, um, anything else you want to add today before we finish our first intro session, Michaela?
Just thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this series. Um, yeah, like audience interaction as well. Like if there's anything that you want us to talk about or anything
Yes.
that's coming up for you, like that would be useful for us to know. And we can include that in our sessions. So
That's
yeah.
right. Great point. I mean, just send your questions, your comments, topics that you would like us to touch, and we'll do our best, right, Michaela?
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for being here, Michaela. And we'll be probably, well, we'll talk about that later on. I mean, we'll be here. You will be hearing from us once a week. So stay tuned. Until then, I wish you a successful and blessed day. Stay
Blessed
healthy.
day.
Bye-bye.